This is a quick review of exponents and exponent rules. This chart shows a lot of the exponent rules we'll talk about today. Some key vocabulary. When we have an exponent, the big number is the base and the little number on top is called the exponent. When we have an exponent, it's telling us how many times the base is being multiplied by itself. So for example, 3 squared means there are 2 3's. 3 to the third power means we're multiplying 3 by itself 3 times. And 3 to the fourth power means we're multiplying 4 3's together. The first exponent rule is the product rule. If we're multiplying two numbers that have the same base, what we're going to do is keep the base the same and add the exponents together. For example, 3 to the second power times 3 to the fourth power is going to equal 3 to the sixth power, because 2 plus 4 equals 6. Another example is 2 to the third power times 2 to the fifth power. In 2 to the third power, there are 3 2's, and 2 to the fifth has 5 2's. If we add those together, 3 plus 5 equals 8, so we have 2 to the eighth power. The next rule is the quotient rule. Quotient means we're dividing. So if we have two numbers with the same base and we're dividing, what we do is subtract the exponents. For example, 3 to the fifth power divided by 3 to the second power equals 3 to the third power, because 5 minus 2 equals 3. Another example is 2 to the fifth power divided by 2 to the third power. When we multiply it out, there are 5 2's on top and 3 2's on bottom. When we have the same number and top and bottom of a division problem, we cross them out because they equal 1. We're left with 2 2's, which equals 2 squared. The next rule is the power rule. When we have a number with an exponent and we raise it to another exponent, we multiply the exponents together. For example, if I have 3 squared in parentheses and I raise it to the fifth power, I take 2 times 5, that equals 10. So it equals 3 to the 10th power. For another example, I have 2 to the third raised to the fourth power. This means I have 4 groups of 3 2's. 3 times 4 equals 12, so I'm left with 2 to the 12th power. The next rule is the power of a product rule. If I have two numbers being multiplied together and then being raised to an exponent, I know that both numbers are being raised to the same exponent. For example, if I have parentheses 2 times 3 close parentheses raised to the fourth power, I know that equals 2 to the fourth power times 3 to the fourth power. Another example is parentheses 2 times 3 close parentheses raised to the third power. This means I have 3 groups of 2 times 3, which means I have 3 2's and 3 3's. So I have 2 to the third power and 3 to the third power. Next, I have the power of a fraction rule. This means if I have a fraction being raised to an exponent, both the top, the numerator, and the bottom, the denominator, are being raised to that exponent. For example, if I have 2/3 to the fourth power, this means I have 2 to the fourth power over 3 to the fourth power. Another example is 2/4 to the third power. This means I have 3 2/4, so I have 3 2's and 3 4's, or 2 to the third power over 4 to the third power. The next rule is the zero exponent. This means any number raised to an exponent of 0 equals 1. Here are some examples. All of these equal 1. So I have 5 raised to the 0 power, 1 raised to the 0 power, 10 raised to the 0 power, 2 raised to the 0 power, 3 raised to the 0 power, and 100 to the 0 power, all equal 1. Last rule is the negative exponent rule, which means if you have a number raised to a negative exponent, you're going to turn it into a fraction with 1 over the number. For example, 3 to the negative 2 power, we're going to flip it upside down, so now it's 1 over 3 to the second power. Let's look at 3 to the negative 2 power again. Remember that it has an invisible 1 underneath it. So what we're doing with the negative exponent is flipping it upside down. Now the 1's on top, and the 3 with the 2 exponent is underneath. Challenge mode, what if the base with the negative exponent is on the bottom? You still flip it upside down, so now the number with the exponent is on the top, and the 1 is underneath.